rice? Bonjour, welcome to Miss Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking. I'm your host, Miss Lucy, and today I'll be teaching you a lot of facts about rice. Have you ever wondered how this package got to your grocery shelf in order for you to prepare it for your dinner table? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how that happened and how to cook perfect rice. So you stay with the chef. We'll be right back.
The Louisiana Seafood Marketing Board is a proud sponsor of Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking Show. The Bayou State enjoys an outstanding culinary tradition. At the center of that tradition is seafood. And no wonder, Louisiana is one of the nation's leading seafood suppliers. And the Louisiana Department of Economic Development. Whether it's crawfish processing or meat packing, Louisiana is the business location for food processing. With infrastructure, site selection assistance, and workforce training. Louisiana, the shape of food technology.
What makes Louisiana so special? Our beautiful bayous and grand plantation homes surrounded by old oak trees, our music and joie de vivre, our unique way of cooking the bounty we harvest from the land and the water. It's our communities, our businesses, our people. That's why I love Louisiana and why I want to share my precious Cajun heritage with you. Growing up on a rice farm gave me an advantage over other people. I learned how to cook rice properly and also all the ways that it can be served. So today I'm going to teach you how to cook the perfect rice. So shall you stay with me? We're gonna have our water in this pot. See, because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna boil some rice in here. Notice how much water I've got in here. Now, I'm not gonna rinse my rice out because actually you can if you want to. If it makes you feel better, that's fine. Mama always rinsed hers at least 3 times, but then you get a lot of the nutrients out of it, but that's okay. You know, Cajuns cook like they want to, and it all ends up, you know, the way it's supposed to anyway. I'm gonna add some rice to here, just a little bit of rice, because you don't want to have a lot. Well, I'm just cooking rice for 2 today. So, this is how you see this. This is vinegar, and I'm going to add a dab of vinegar to this. Vinegar serves a 2-fold purpose. Of course, it whitens the rice, you know, but then it makes your kernel just tighten up, and they don't get mushy. It really helps. So that's a thing I learned. I guess my mama always used this, and I didn't know why. And then a friend of mine who's a chef says, "Do you know why your mama?" And I said, "No, she did it, and I'm doing it." So actually, her mama did it too, you know. So just one right after the other. And so he told me, he said, it's to tighten up the kernels in the rice. He said it serves 2 purposes. So we're gonna let this boil, and when it gets to where the grains are fluffy, that's when I'm going to take it to the sink and I'm going to rinse it. So now, this is my next thing. Of course, you can't have rice without gravy. So the family favorite at my house is roast rice and gravy. So today, I'm going to show you how to cook the roast and make a wonderful Cajun gravy. Now, I've got a beautiful roast here, and it's boneless. Of course, you can get the chuck roast, and it's got bones and all. I prefer the roast with the bone. But now, this one is just as pretty as you can get. So it's got, you know, just the right type of fat on it. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some, I've got some garlic here. I'm going to add to this onion. Then a little onion tops in here. Chopped up onion top. Okay. Now to this, add, some salt and a little dab of pepper. Okay, mix all that up. And you notice how I do it with my fingers? Well, that's how Cajuns cook anyway. So, okay. Rice is already starting to boil. Okay, I'm gonna, of course I've tried anyway. Let me add some more to this because I cut a pocket in here. And you see, it's a big old pocket, because you want to stuff this roast to make it taste real good. Now, I cook beef roast like this, but this is exactly how I cook pork roast. So it doesn't matter, whichever one you want to cook, it's cooked the same way. And you stuff this real good. Boy, it smells good already without cooking it. All right, now, all right. How to secure this? Toothpicks. All right, oh, standby, toothpicks. Mama used to sew this up. She'd take a needle, believe it or not, and sew up the pocket to where the ingredients from the inside, the stuffing, wouldn't come out. But I've learned to use toothpicks. Of course, you need the real big toothpicks because the small ones will maybe break, okay? Then you salt and pepper your meat on one side. A little bit of Louisiana hot sauce. Man. Okay. This way, real good. You have to season it. You know, when you season meat, you have to remember that about a 1/4 inch of this meat, it will absorb the seasoning. So let me put a little bit of red hot, then I'll check my rice here because it's beginning to boil. Okay. All right, you put it down because actually this is the fat. I've added, hear that? I've added some oil, excuse me, some oil to my pot, just a dab of oil, and this will sear the meat. Okay. My rice is boiling. You want to stir it. You can even stir it. It doesn't matter. See, but it's not cooked yet. You have to be careful that these kernels get real fluffy. You sear the roast on both sides because you have to form some gratin in the bottom of that pot to where it'll really. All right, I'll turn that fire back on a little bit higher just to let it slow boil. You want to slow boil your rice. All right, now, see this? It's already seared on one side. Look at this. You see how brown it is? Now that gratin is going to be forming in the bottom of this pot. That's what's going to make the most remarkable gravy. Now, okay, I'm going to let this cook all together. My rice is cooking good. Yeah, got a little ways to go. This takes maybe about 10 minutes, I guess. And I'm going to cook my roast here. Oh, my, that's browning real well. So then, also, what I'm going to show you how to fix is some boiled potatoes, and I'll fry them in here. So this was an old German favorite of my mother-in-law. So what I did, I boiled some potatoes. Now let me just go ahead and do this now. Start melting my butter. You want to add some butter in here, or cooking oil. You can use cooking oil if you want to. It's all the same thing. As long as you melt some kind of oil in here or butter, it's fine, because you want to brown your potatoes real well. Okay, I guess that'll be enough here. All right, use my eye. You know how Cajuns cook. Then your boiled potatoes, you just peel them like this. And, of course, oops, right here. Peel them, because they're already boiled. I'm not a good potato peeler. I guess I wouldn't have made it in the Army. So, okay, because I'd have been in KP all the time. Then you slice it like this. Just like this, small pieces, see? My mother-in-law taught me how to do this because, man, it accommodates this. It accompanies this meal so well, okay? I'm going to drop my potatoes in here and brown them real well. Ooh, I see my rice is cooking. I'll have to run over there and see about it, okay? Got this. Just gab these out. All right, I'll let them cook while I tend to my rice. Doesn't take long. This is very quick and easy and delicious. Oh, okay. Let's see my rice here. Oh, yes. See how those grains are really pretty and fluffy? Now it's done. Let me go ahead and flip my roast over before I go to the sink. Now, see how brown? You have to be sure that you brown your meat real well. And to this, add a dab of water, because you don't want to burn it. Hear the sizzle? A cameraman's nightmare. I know it. I do it all the time. There we go. Now I'm going to take my pot of rice I'm going to take it to the sink. And first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pour the whole thing into my colander, which I've already set in the sink. This was my mama's colander, and I love to use it because it brings back old memories. You use cold water to rinse your rice with, and you see how those grains are just gorgeous. They're just so fluffy. They will stay separated. You can put this in the refrigerator for weeks and, honey, reheat it in the microwave, and you have delicious rice. Be served with that gravy. Okay, I'll bring it back here. All right. Yeah. Well, I think I'm just going to stand my roast up because you want to get all the corners. Okay. Now, well, I'm going to go ahead and brown these potatoes, flip them over, brown them like this. See how they brown on one side? You want to flip them and brown them on all sides, both sides. And I'm going to take them out and I'll add some salt and pepper on top of this. So, actually, then you enjoy with your rice and gravy. Man, this is just gourmet meal. For a Cajun, that is. Of course, now rice comes in different forms. We have the white rice, the brown rice, and I prefer the white rice. And we've got conditioned rice, and we've got all kinds of rice. So go to your grocery store and check those out. The rice planting season begins with the preparation of the ground. It is disked real well, and then levees are pulled. This levee plow is a real neat piece of equipment. The planting is done either dry with drills or, as this farm is doing, by flooding the field to water plant. The planting is actually done by airplanes. See how the seed is dropped over the water and sinks to the bottom to form its roots and begins to grow. Once the seed germinates, the field is drained. With the proper amount of rain, the rice reaches this height, and the fields are once again flooded. When the rice crop reaches maturity, it turns a beautiful golden color. It's harvest time, one of the busiest seasons of the year. The field is drained once again. Large combines make gathering the crops easy and quick before the cold and rain of winter arrives. These combines are driven through the fields, taking in rice on the straw. Inside, the two are separated, grain being stored in the hopper of the combine, and the straw is discarded out the back. The grain is then transferred into grain carts, driven by tractors, and taken to the trucks that will bring the rice to the dryer. These huge combines can cover a lot of acreage in a day. All rice contains some moisture and needs to be dried before it is milled. The drying process is done with these giant blowers, forcing hot air into the rice bins. Once this is done, the rice is stored or sold to the mills. The milling process begins by removing the hulls. Then, to make white rice, the grains are polished, removing the bran off the grain. That's what makes the difference between brown rice and white rice. The milling process is monitored very closely. Then the rice is packaged according to types of grain and sent by trucks to markets within the United States or to international markets. Rice farming is often a family endeavor spanning generations. I'll bet this little fella will know just how to raise rice when he grows up. How true that is, because even though I was a girl, I learned exactly how to grow rice, and I grew up and married a rice farmer. So I've learned everything, well, almost everything there's to learn about rice, and especially when it comes to rice like this, because this actually came off of my rice farm. And this is what I've cooked today that has the shucks have been taken off of here, the little deals, and it's been polished. And this is white rice. This is brown rice, and brown rice is rice that has not been polished yet. Now, a lot of people hear about wild rice, and they wonder if it is really a rice. Well, it isn't. It is a grass that grows up north where it's cool because it can't grow in the southern parts. Of course, now you incorporate this with some raw white rice and you cook it together, honey, you can fix you a real good meal. You can make salad dressings with it. You can just throw it in stuffings. It is great. So, well, let me finish my meal now, and I'm gonna, wow, that roast looks real good. I'm going to show you what kind of dessert I would serve with this. Now, this is a wonderful dessert that Mrs. Crossley gave to me when I moved to Jones in Northeast Louisiana. Of course, I was so depressed and I was down in the dumps, and I mean, I was very upset because I had left all my Cajun friends, my family, and oh, I was upset because it's so different up there. There were no Cajuns there, just my sister-in-law and I. And so I cried once a day, all day long, me and my little 4-year-old boy. But we lived through it and we learned to like it. So first of all, she gave me this recipe, this old lady that really was a wonderful friend. And this was her favorite dessert, and of course it became one of mine. And first I have to really whip my butter and sugar in here. I've already had my sugar in here. So we're gonna whip that up real good. After I've done that, I have to add my eggs. Ooh, I'm a messy cook, but all good cooks are messy cooks. Remember that. So you got to be messy to be a good cook. Now, I'm going to add my eggs one at a time, but first I want to share with you this little gadget. Look at this. It's an egg separator, and it's great because I always get that yolk into my egg whites whenever I'm separating them if I don't use this. So I'm going to use this one first because I'm going to be using the egg whites later on. One egg at a time is what you have to do. And it's very important that you do this. One egg at a time. That's the way she taught me, and so that's what I'm doing. Okay, got that one worked up. Try to divide these. Oh, well, you know, it never works when you want it to. Never. That's all right. It'll all come out in the wash or in the cake. That was my mother-in-law's favorite saying. Okay. Then I'm going to add the rest of my eggs here, which I should have added one at a time, so don't do like I'm doing. All righty. Now, wipe my hands again. This ought to be a real good cake today. And this is so easy to make, but it's really a little time-consuming. All right, that's done. Takes my flour, and I'm going to mix my salt and baking soda in here. Okay, well, to get it all out, because you need as much as you can get it for the right measurements. All right, now mix it here. All righty. Okay. Now, next step. See, there's several steps, but it's not that bad when you've baked it as many as I have. Okay. All right, I've got vanilla flavor here. Mix this in. And, oops, here we go. I'm going to incorporate this in here. I'm going to put it in here. Add it to this. Okay. Okay. That was sour cream. That was the sour cream and the vanilla. Now I'm going to add my flour to this. Okay. Okay, now. Now to this, you have to fold some egg whites in here. So you fold these gorgeous egg whites that I've already beaten into here. Fold it up real good. You put it in a Bundt pan and you bake it at 300 degrees for about an hour and a half, and it should come out looking just like this. Gorgeous, and it is delicious. I'm going to show you what salad I'll be fixing with this wonderful meal. This is my daughter Barbara's salad. Barbara's not the cook in the family. She doesn't like to cook, but she is a good cook when she does cook. And she came up with this salad. Of course, I've already fixed some of it in here for time element. And this is what she uses, the romaine lettuce, and you just cut it up. It's so easy. Just cut it up with your hands. You throw, Cajuns throw everything in, your tomatoes in here with, of course, your purple onions. Yeah, very good. All this in here. Then what you add, this is the special ingredient, some more little old mandarin oranges. That's what it's called, a mandarin orange salad. Very good. Add that to this, of course. Now, I want to show you something special. Of course, now, this is an egg cutter. Mama didn't have these when I was growing up, and I hated to cut those, because I always got egg yolk on my fingers. This works great. Look at this. Wow. Voila. Just perfect slices. See? It's just beautiful. Now, to all this, we're going to add poppy seed dressing. I didn't make this, but of course the one that you make is it's real good. But of course I didn't take the time to make this. I just purchased it at the store. So then you toss all this together, and honey, it is just great. Now, oh, this looks so good. I tell you what, that roast has been looking at me long enough. I am going to just go ahead and I'm going to set my plate. I am going to enjoy this rice and gravy, because it's not only my family's favorite, it's also one of mine. And it's what I grew up on, roast, rice, and gravy. So I'm going to set my plate now. Watch how pretty this is going to be. Now, this is how a Cajun really eats rice. Now, you know that you can tell a Cajun, because if a person knows how much rice it takes to go with this gravy, he's real Cajun. By chance, he's probably a rice farmer, too, because he can also tell you how many acres it takes to cover that bowl of gravy. Now, put my potatoes in here. Look at that luscious gravy. That's really, that's a Cajun dream. Very good. So this is real good gravy, but make sure you make that gratin. I'm at Hilltop, a 14-acre arboretum in Baton Rouge, and I have been enjoying these gorgeous sassafras trees. Of course, I just had to pick me some leaves, and I will be going back to my kitchen and crushing these, making me some wonderful gumbo filet. But first, I would like to share a letter with you from Barbara Wade in Winsboro. Barbara writes, "Hi, Miss Lucy. I am Barbara Wade from Winsboro. I love to watch your show on TV. I am always collecting recipes. I learned to cook when I was young. My mom let me cook with her. My mom's name is also Lucy. I enjoy watching you cook. I usually get flour all over the place. So keep cooking, Miss Lucy, and I will continue to watch. Bye now, Barbara." Thank you, Barbara, for sending me this lovely letter. And thank you for watching me. See you again soon.
C'est noir que le diable va les voir, et ça me fait du mal.
Look us up on the World Wide Web at lpb.org.
The Louisiana Seafood Marketing Board is a proud sponsor of Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking Show. The Bayou State enjoys an outstanding culinary tradition. At the center of that tradition is seafood. And no wonder, Louisiana is one of the nation's leading seafood suppliers. And the Louisiana Department of Economic Development. Whether it's crawfish processing or meat packing, Louisiana is the business location for food processing, with infrastructure, site selection assistance, and workforce training. Louisiana, the shape of food technology.